Yo, yo, yo. Hey, are you thinking about an investment property, more so in Airbnb, VRBO, something short-term rentals? Well, stay tuned. This video may be for you. I found in Chicago you can double, if not triple, your annual rent income by doing Airbnb and VRBO. I'm Mark Buckner with the Mark Buckner Group at Compass Realty. I'm here today with my wife and my business partner for the first Airbnb that we picked up about almost a year and a half ago. We've been renting it probably for over about 6 months. And so I wanted to break down the steps with her and for you guys on how we do it. So step number one we discovered was what? Research and planning. How did this come about, Lice?
The pandemic, when we were at home quarantining, we had no other outlet. While some of our friends were going to second homes or to friends' homes.
So wanted a place that we can have as a secondary home, right?
Yes.
And so what was my negotiation with you to do this?
It has to be able to pay for itself,
Yeah.
basically, or we have to be able to rent it to afford it.
Yeah. So it was investment first, right? Mm-hmm. And secondary home second, right?
Yes.
So wanted to be able to enjoy it, get some free lodging, create some family memories, but have our own place, right?
Yes.
And so what was kind of our criteria, right, for the house?
Well, first was destination, and I wanted mountains, and you agreed.
Yep.
I started looking at mountain destinations that are close to other attractions.
Yeah.
So we could draw tourists as renters.
Yeah. Step number two, I think, is going into the buying process, right? And that's a whole video on itself. So if you have more questions about the buying process, check out our channel because I got tons of videos on that. But we're not going to go into every detail. But big part of buying process, I think, is one is getting pre-approved, which we did. Two is finding a good broker. So if you're looking in Chicago, hey, maybe I'm your guy. But if not, if you're looking out of state, let me know because I have a strong reach nationally and know brokers all over. So happy to connect you with a quality, top producing broker to help you with your property search. The other thing I think especially for couples, is creating your must-have list and maybe a wish list, but really the must-have list and kind of what was on that list for us.
We wanted a house that had an authentic Western feel. So for us, that was a log cabin.
Yeah, because if we're gonna go to the mountains out west, we wanted to feel like we were in the West.
Yes, we didn't want to be in a house that could be in any Chicago suburb.
Yeah, so like if you looked around the house, you could be like, oh, I could just be in our home in Chicago, right? Like, and we also thought, or at least I thought, that was a good marketing tactic, that we would draw a larger audience of renters if they kind of were looking for that Western mountain experience.
Right.
I'm always, in any investment that we buy, that I'm always looking to find something where there could be add value, where there could be additional income coming in. And what I liked about the house that we picked is we could maybe set up another space that could be rented out, right?
Right.
So we were looking at if it had a loft, if it had a barn or a coach house, something in addition for additional income besides just renting out the main house. Step number three, which I think is when you do find that property, is completing your due diligence, right? I think one is if you're looking to do short-term rentals is making sure you can do short-term rentals in that town, right?
Yes.
So lots of these ski towns, depending on how built up and how established they are, have certain rules. Like I know our friends have a place in Breck. Their rules are a little bit tighter.
Yes. My friend in Key West, it has to be month-long rentals. Right.
Yep.
And then there are tax issues. I had to call the village, the city, the county.
Yep, because you got to make sure, do we need a permit?
Right.
Do we need a license? What are the rules on the village level versus, and we're in a subdivision, what was the rules in the subdivision?
And then we're in sort of unincorporated county.
Yep.
So, like I said, calling the county.
And so we targeted almost kind of an up and coming town versus a super established town. In addition to, obviously you always want to do a home inspection, which we did, but if you're looking to do short-term rental, one due diligence you need to do is that. What did we maybe miss in our due diligence? We did our research on construction cost. I have a good foundation of what things cost in Chicago.
Right.
We knew going into this was going to be an experiment, going to be a rocky road. We knew going into it because we've never invested out of state where
right.
I couldn't just go and check on our property in the projects.
And I think being in the second tier town definitely had an impact.
Yeah. And one thing that we couldn't control was when we did the rehab last year, it was the biggest snow season the West had ever experienced, ever. It was an epic year.
It was more than 500 inches of snow.
If we did it this year, it may be a lot easier,
yes.
but sometimes contractors couldn't get to the house for days because the roads were closed, because they were snowed in. But definitely we learned getting quality construction and the cost of construction in a mountain town was way more expensive than we anticipated, and finding quality workers was a lot harder.
Right.
And that's just kind of going into it.
And that we wouldn't have known
And
beforehand.
that's just trial and error.
Yeah.
So once you get the house situated, right?
Yes.
So tell me about the setup for doing Airbnb.
It's incredible. I mean, my friend was renting a home 20 years ago where she had to do everything herself. She had to get credit card machines. Like it's so different. Airbnb just has instructions you follow on their website. The number one thing is you need photos.
Need photos. Yeah.
You only need 5 to get started, but photos make all the difference.
Yeah. So what did we do?
We hired a photographer, but I also took photos myself first.
Yeah, you took photos yourself first, but we hired a professional photographer that photographs homes out there.
Yes, because there's no way to get the mountain view, the aerial views. There are certain photos the layperson can't really do.
Well, the setup is we wanted a home that, when we were buying furniture, right? Like we researched our beds, we researched our pillows. We wanted the beds to be comfortable.
Oh my God! I was laying on beds.
The furniture to be comfortable.
Yes.
We also wanted the aesthetic of the house to kind of complement the West.
We wanted it to feel like you were having an authentic Western experience.
So not just the architecture of the place, but how we decorated.
The entire feel.
Shout out to Philip from Stephen Phillip Design, who crushed it for us.
Yeah.
So the approach was that this kind of Western experience, Airbnb and VRBO, super user-friendly for you.
Yes, both were very easy for me. Like I said, you can start with your own photos, but we feel professional photos really take it to the next level. But it's all step by step. You just follow their instructions and you're set up.
So step number 5 is marketing, which we're kind of talking about already, right? So besides professional photos, an aerial view that we did, a video that we created, how else have we been kind of marketing the house?
Are you referring to the welcome books?
Well, one is, we created a welcome book there, but we also created a digital flip book. You created a social media page.
I did create an Instagram page for the property.
We're posting about it now so people know we have a house in the Teton Mountains in Victor, Idaho, which is amazing. You want to rent it, call this chick here next to me. So social media. And what's the other stuff, the ultimate goal was to get...
now I don't remember what it's called.
Superhost. Which you did already in a very short period of time.
Yes.
Right?
And I just got awarded it again.
And so what's the best route to becoming a Superhost?
So it's easier on Airbnb. I will say that. It's just all about communicating with the renters. That's really the key. And then getting great reviews.
Great reviews. So what blocked us on getting Superhosts in the beginning for VRBO?
VRBO, here's the trick. When you are doing both, there were times, despite syncing the calendars, there were times when the dates weren't blocked off And so I had to decline a reservation, and that impedes your ability to get the star host. Does that make sense?
That I didn't know. Doesn't fully make sense.
Yeah.
But one thing that we did learn was we weren't confirming right away.
Right, but I'm saying that's why.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would wait and have to double check because the calendars didn't sync, and according to VRBO, that meant I was not confirming.
So cut to the chase. What's more of the story?
Accept those reservations.
Yes. And she was worried about screening tenants and
Yeah.
applicants. We have our criteria, right? So if they know how to read, that means they're online, they know how to read, they can book a showing, they can read our criteria, and then we confirm right away. Right. Confirm. Right? That increases your odds of getting Superhost right away. You get Superhost, people trust us more, they want to rent us. Then what's the other thing? How do you entice people to give us a good review? She's really good at this.
Communicate with them.
Yeah, but you give them a review.
Yes, I do.
It's a potluck meal, right? You give them a review, they give you a review back.
Yes, but it's also the communication.
Communication, which you're getting into, in my opinion, is property management and guest communication, which is tip number 6, right, or step number 6.
Yes.
So how do we communicate with our guests?
Well, again, the apps are so great. You communicate with them through the apps. However, we do have a property manager who is local. So she can be contacted for any immediate questions or concerns.
I think if you're doing an Airbnb, what Liza's trying to say is you got to have systems. And I'm very systematic in my approach. I'm type A, I'm wound up a little too tight, right? And so we have a system, right? We could have hired a property management company. I've done that in Chicago. I don't care for it. I find I know enough where I can manage it better myself, and I can hire people to create my own management team. So we found an awesome handyman, Tom, who's freaking amazing. And then we found an awesome property manager / cleaning lady, Mari, who's absolutely amazing. So we have a system. So if you're checking in, Mari has a system approach on how she makes sure the house is ready. When someone checks out, she has a system approach to check that the house is ready, that there's no damage, that all the belongings are still there. We have some special art that we've included there. Just kind of checking those things out. We use a software called Trello. So if a booking comes in, and this is once again a system, communication, I can't stress that enough, that everybody's on the same page, and we leverage software to do that. It's a simple software. It's a souped up to-do list. Trello, if you haven't heard of it, shout out to them.
So I will take a photo of every reservation confirmation and put it under the correct month. And then Mari and I know every check-in and check-out date. All the renters' questions come to me if there are concerns about how something works, or if there's an immediate concern. Again, if something's not working, then I'll send I'll direct the renters to contact her.
Yeah, and you give out Mari's number in the beginning when they're approaching, and when you give out the access information to the house, right? But I can't stress it. If you could find someone who can do it for you, it's amazing. They're great. We're out there this holiday season. We had them over for dinner. I encourage kind of really growing those relationships.
For us, we couldn't have achieved that status without their help.
Yeah. And so kind of a few other steps is maintenance, finance, and continuously making adjustments. So let's talk about maintenance. I kind of already touched about that. So anything maintenance comes up, Mari will put it on Trello. She tags our handyman Tom and me and Liza. We take photos. We have a system that's work to be done, a system that work's getting done, and then a column of when work's done and things just kind of get moved along. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows their role and knows their job, right? I think one way we track our finances super easy is you figured out we have a cross-check, once again, a system. Liza's worked out what's VRBO cut, what is Airbnb's cut, we get paid. When do we get paid?
I believe it's 24 to 48 hours after check-in.
Yep. And then We check to make sure the money that's come in. We do this by we opened up an LLC for the property. We have its own bank account, its own tax number. All the funds come into that bank account. When we pay people out, it comes out of that bank account, and we have a credit card for the property. So really make sure that funds don't get commingled. Easier for your accountant. If you're doing your own taxes, do it that way. And then probably, I think we've continued to make some adjustments, right? And what helps us or what brings up those adjustments for us?
There's part of the guest reviews is a sort of comment section for the owner.
Yeah.
So they'll leave a 5-star review, but then say, by the way, the heat wasn't working so well, or by the way, the TV was acting funny. And that's really nice because then it doesn't impact your review, but it's also nice to make things better each time.
Yeah. And it's continuously, people are going to see things that we don't see. So it's once again, checking your ego, trying to put yourself in that consumer's shoes. And how can you make this a better experience? What else did we learn? People don't read what you give them. And that's okay. So they have lots of questions in the beginning.
Yes.
And so just kind of know going into that.
And we've made signs, for lack of a better word. We have the Wi-Fi sign. We have the how to work the heater sign. We have the hot tub instructions guide rules sign. I mean, people do not read the welcome book. They read it when they get there sometimes.
They're there for vacation.
Yeah.
They're there to have fun. Our job is to be a super host and make them feel welcome, make their trip as easy as possible and enjoyable. Get those good reviews. The good reviews come in. You get more bookings, you pay your bills, and you get to go out there and enjoy the house. If you like what we're throwing down here, be sure to hit the like button and the bell to subscribe to get notified every time we do a post. Thanks for listening. Go make that money.